Namaste friends, welcome to another episode of Nagpur Narrative. This is Ajay Sudame for Indic Vichaar. Today we continue to discuss ShivSena, Maharashtra, and of course Balasaheb Thackeray, my favorite politician Balasaheb Thackeray, because even after he's long gone, we saw lost of him in 2012, he continues to dominate the social and political narratives. So friends, let me take you back to the history. Right from day one, say 1947, we got our independence, and 1950 we got our republic. So since then, Indian politics continues to revolve around few strong dominant personalities, few strong dominant politicians, and not without a reason. Because either they stood for an ideology, or they created a strong sense of pride amongst the general public. So my not so detailed, a casual list of strong dominating politicians would look something like this. Starting with, of course, with Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri, though he stayed for a very little while. Indira Gandhi, Periyar, Rajiv Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Balasaheb Thackeray, and of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Nehru was the first liberal icon. Indira Gandhi created a strong sense of nationhood amongst Indians. Periyar created Dravidian, anti-Brahmin, anti-Hindu political narratives. Atal Bihari's government was the first real government of the Hindu right. Balasaheb Thackeray, by fusing the Marathi pride with Hindutva, in a way, created a unique vote bank, which even today, as I said, after 10 years he is gone, which even today, which refuses to wither away. It was so unique that even today, when ShivSena's numbers are dwindling, Uddhav Thackeray clearly cannot match his charm. The vote bank continues to stay. It continues to stay intact, right? But since 2014, it has been under tremendous pressure, mainly because of Modi-powered BJP's pan-India Hindutva appeal and Marathi population going down in Mumbai. As per one survey, it has come down to around 30%. I believe all this resulted in Amit Shah going alone in 2014 and Uddhav Thackeray returning the favor by backstabbing BJP in 2019 and forming a three-way alliance with Congress and NCP. And though this decision of backstabbing BJP and forming a three-way alliance with NCP and Congress might have helped get the Thackeray pride back a little, it created ideological void for the party and a friction on the ground for volunteers, which one can say was one of the big factors in Eknath Shinde engineering a rebellion without much sweat. And do you know what was worse? After engineering such a large mutiny, when Eknath Shinde walked in Mumbai after staying in Guwahati and Goa, when Eknath Shinde walked only in Mumbai, there was not even a squeak of protest on the roads. Forget throwing stones or creating arson. So what went wrong? Where are the ShivSenics? What happened to ShivSenics? Friends, they are missing Balasaheb. Simple and clear, nothing more, nothing less. The ShivSenics are in search of a new Balasaheb. It's not that Uddhav didn't try, but he failed to inspire the ShivSenics. Because one, he couldn't provide the sizable ideological canvas which Balasaheb did when he was there, and he switched to Hindutva in 1985 And secondly, Uddhav lacks his father's charisma. Now there is hardly any disagreement that Uddhav lacks his father's charisma. So I will not discuss that. But let me elaborate on the first point in a little detail. You see, in 1966, when Balasaheb formed ShivSena, but for Janasangha, BJP's earlier avatar, and Hindu Mahasabha, most political parties were trying to fit into the template of Nehruvian consensus, which also you can say was the secularism. And hardly any surprise then that most couldn't garner much success till 1990s. ShivSena in its initial days was an outfit limiting itself to Mumbai, acting as a counter to Datta Samant's trade unionism. It was also alleged then that it was bankrolled by Vasantrao Naik, then Congress chief minister, and hence ShivSena was chided as Vasanta Sena. Opposing communist was not the only ideological underpinning on which ShivSena rested. It also called itself the party of local Marathi Manus. But then one can safely say that when it comes to ideology, it was sort of in between. ShivSena tasted its first major political success in 1971 when Dr. S.H. Gupte, a Shivasainik, became the mayor of Mumbai, a feat which was repeated after that for many occasions. So starting from 1971 till 1999, there were 23 mayors of Mumbai, out of which 20 belonged to ShivSena. Must mention, in between these 1991 to 1995, when 4 years there was when ShivSena lost the mayoral elections, it supported Congress, right? It supported Congress, and Congress had its own mayor. So go back to why ShivSena was called Vasanta Sena. And though during all these years, 1979 till 1991, one can say these 2 decades, ShivSena kept on testing some little success other than this winning mayoral elections. ShivSena kept on testing some real success here and there. It didn't become a Maharashtra level player. All that changed in 1989 when Balasaheb formed an alliance with BJP. In the election which followed in the assembly elections next year, 1990, do you know how many seats ShivSena won? 52 to BJP's 42. Another question, another trick question, answer without Googling. Do you know how many seats ShivSena had won in one election earlier to that? In assembly election earlier to that? In 1985, right? Think again, Mitro. 0. So before tying up with BJP, ShivSena was just nowhere to be seen. It won 0 seats in 1985 and 52 in 1990 after it had tied up with BJP. So I leave it to your conscience to judge Uddhav Thackeray's political acumen when he says that ShivSena Yuti Madhe Sadli, that's Marathi, which loosely translated into English, that ShivSena was not able to progress much because it had a tie-up with BJP. Since then, I mean 1990, ShivSena has not looked back. It had its first chief minister, Manohar Joshi, in 1995. Then again, it shared power with BJP in 2014 when Devendra Fadnavis became the CM. And then again in 2019, it had its CM again in form of Uddhav Thackeray, as I mentioned, starting 1971 till 2019, it had its mayor in Bombay for 20 times out of 23. Also, it has its mayors and Jilla Parishad presidents in many towns and cities of Maharashtra. So it's quite simple to see that as much credit should go to Balasaheb's personal appeal and charisma, equal, if not more, should go to his decision to turn ShivSena from an only Marathi Manus party to a strident Hindutva outfit. Must mention here again that starting 1966, it remained a Marathi Manus party and a party which opposed communist till 1985. And from 1985, it turned to Hindutva. As per some of the experts, this basically happened because Ravindra Mhatre, who was an Indian diplomat in England, was brutally assassinated by Islamists in 1984. Right? There is a bridge by the name of Mhatre Bridge in Pune. So as per few experts, this was one incident which pushed Balasaheb Thackeray to turn to Hindutva in 1985. Unfortunately, friends, Uddhav Thackeray didn't see it like that, and he took a U-turn. He took a U-turn and decided to run the much beaten path of secular parties, which without much difficulty, one can say, played a big part in Eknath Shinde engineering such a large rebellion without much difficulty. Now that raises a few questions. Mainly three. Can Eknath Shinde replace Uddhav Thackeray? Will these rebelling MLAs go back to Uddhav again? Will the Shinde faction merge with BJP? So the answer to first question is an obvious, easy no. Eknath Shinde cannot replace Uddhav Thackeray. The answer to these next two questions is quite difficult, and frankly, I mean there are no easy answers to those two questions. So I mean those questions are. I believe that some of these rebelling MPs and rebelling MLAs may go back to Uddhav Thackeray, or Uddhav Thackeray's faction will have to be merged with Eknath Shinde's faction. That will depend upon election commission. We don't know the answers today. And the third question, will Shinde faction merge with BJP? Again, I don't know. It might remain as a separate outfit. While as I said, I don't have any clear-cut answers to these questions, but I know one thing for sure, that if a larger-than-life Hindutva icon matching Balasaheb's appeal does not emerge quickly, it's quite clear that ShivSena will wither away. ShivSena will be lost in the political oblivion in next few months. So, who can be the next Balasaheb? Is it possible? I mean, you might be thinking that I am crazy. I have lost it. So please bear with me, friends, for only one or 2 minutes, and I will tell you the answer. So I will tell you the logic behind it. So it's quite clear that a new Balasaheb has to emerge. Who can be the new Balasaheb? Clearly, Uddhav has failed the test miserably when he had the clear and easiest shot. Raj Thackeray, possibly, but it's too early. He doesn't have the organizational wherewithal. Then who? Why not look outside the family? Why not look outside Mumbai? Why not look outside the Maharashtra? Why not outside the state? Right? Why not go till Delhi? Why not go till Delhi? Who can be the next Balasaheb? Can Narendra Modi be the new Balasaheb? Surprised? You think I am crazy? So I beseech you, friends, to think again. Think hard and give it a shot. You will find both have striking similarities. Both had the mass appeal, which save for Indira Gandhi and Nehru, no one could match. Both went against the prevailing political consensus and made it large. Both were hated by journalists, socialists, and liberals for their beliefs and their guts. If Balasaheb was the first Hindu Hriday Samrat, Narendra Modi is the prevailing one. And arguably, someone who's staying at that spot, for the longest. Friends, I see a real possibility of PM Modi being deified and ShivSena looking upon him to show the light. A new Balasaheb is born. Long live Balasaheb. That's it for today, friends. If you like this video, like it, share it, and please subscribe to our channel, Indic Vichaar. Jai Shri Ram, Jai.